Okay, let's talk about the top 10 most boring corporations in Terraforming Mars. Um, so this is in no way meant to talk about how good or bad the card is, or how good the corporation is at winning. It's just how much fun it is to play with it. Although how good or bad will come up because bad corporations and poorly designed corporations tend to be less fun than good ones. But we're actually going to start with a pretty good one. Credicor. I'm not as high as most people are on it. Like if I see, most tier lists on YouTube have it usually S tier or the top tier. I don't win that much with it. I actually win more with Thorgate, which I know is a bad corporation, but yeah, I don't. I guess I don't know how to play it properly, but I am sure that it's not fun, and it looks fun. I mean, playing big cards and getting a big rebate for it seems fun, but it generally just plays as very plain. It has no tag. And even though the 57 mega crate to start with, give you a lot of options, I don't know. I've never had a game with Credicor or a opening hand where I go, oh my god, the potential. There is one exception though, and that one thing about me is I really like combos, and Credicor does have some great combos with standard projects, which lets you play greeneries for 16 effectively and cities for 18 effectively. If you couple that with Mars rovers, then you can play cities for 16 as well, which is great value. And if Mars first or the greens are in play, it's even cheaper. With the greens in play, greeneries cost 12 effectively, which if you think about it, for 3 points early, that's amazing. That's, playing advanced ecosystems, basically. Cheaper, actually, because that's 14, this is 12. So yeah, for those reasons, Credicor only ranks number 10. But yeah, it is boring to me. So let's move on to number 9. Polyphemos. Now, quick thing, I haven't played as some of the corps that I'm ranking here, and part of the reason is like I just know they're boring by looking at them, and that's what I think in Polyphemos. And I hate the effect. I really it's such a crippling thing. I mean, it does give you sort of the money production to make up for it. But then the strategy becomes a lot like Credicor, where you play, big cards. You try to play really big cards and start with a lot of money. Except it's a lot less fun than Credicor because you can switch that strategy because just buying a lot of cheap cards is so expensive. And also you don't like the rebate is more fun. Like Polyphemos really does nothing. Like you start with a lot of production and capital, and that's it. Those are I mean, you have the negative ability, but you don't like that, so it has no real blue effect. The reason I don't have it lower is because it does play, I think, extremely different than every other corporation. Like it's very unique, so that's why I don't have it any lower. But moving on, I think one that most people will consider a weird pick, Valley Trust. Now, Valley Trust is a lot of fun during the prelude phase. Grabbing a third prelude is fun. After that, you're left with an Earth tag, which I really think, I mean, it should have been a science tag so that you have, the like lean more towards the science strategy. But really, the 2D's kind of science, it's not that exciting. I mean, it's not bad. It's not great either. But really, after you get that third prelude, if your preludes don't really do anything, you just feel like you're playing a beginner corp for a while. With a discount in science, but I honestly, like, how many games do you have where you play like 5 science decks or more? Like even 7 to get to anti-grav. That's, I would say 8 is the top, and that's a crazy science game. And because of Valley Trust, low starting capital, it doesn't always lean that way. So sometimes you can't even like play like science cards are expensive in the opening round, so you can't even like take advantage of the bonus. This corp can be solid. If you get 3 good preludes, you're in a great position. It's not gonna be fun then. Like you might get, donation and a couple other things, and you might play something that feels similar to Credicor in that case. So yeah, not it's really fun. The third prelude is really fun, but that's just the opening 5 minutes of the game. After that, I never find it fun. So on the 7th place, also from the prelude expansion, Changing Mars. And Changing Mars is really solid. I used to I was really excited about playing this corporation because this came out after Venus, and this is the first corporation that starts with money production, which is a strategy that I like. You basically start with a played acquired company minus attack, but yeah, again, I guess you might notice that discount and rebate corporations are generally not fun for me, with maybe the exception of Director. But yeah, you just get a discount on building tax, which is, I mean, again, this corporation is really solid, really good. But I don't know, it plays pretty normally. There's nothing exciting about it. It is a little better because you can do chain a lot of building tax sometimes with the discount, and go for some more fun things. But the other thing that to me ruined it was that it came with preludes, and so the starting with 3 money production was never unique because there's a few preludes like Allied Bank or Metals Company or Business Empire that actually give you money production to start with, which I thought was like the unique thing it did. So up next, Thorgate, the Energy Corp. And so yeah, Thorgate doesn't do much. Like, how many energy cards do you play? Cards with energy tax do you play in a game? 3. And so it's not that exciting to do it. It comes with an energy production, and then it plays again like a beginner corp. And Thorgate is actually kind of weak when you think about it, even though I tend to win with it, like I mentioned. But I don't know why. I usually just get lucky with Thorgate. But yeah, there's not much to say here. It doesn't combo with anything. It just, you're gonna get a 12 maybe dollars off, and you have a nice starting energy, which lets you play a power hungry card early. That's nice. Again, less significant with preludes, and a decent starting capital. But the reason I don't have Thorgate any lower is because energy is actually kind of a very versatile resource that lets you, you can use it as heat. You can maybe get a bumper, or you can just play a lot of cards that require energy production. So it actually, it's like you'll notice all of these 5 corporations that aren't as low in the ranking are kind of versatile. So that's what they're not lower. They're just very plain. Whatever strategy you do, you're very plain. But at least you're not sent into a strategy, which is going to be the case with some future ones. Not the next one, and the next one is a corporation that most people like to play, but I get a lot of fun with it. It's Poseidon. And Poseidon, yeah. So you start with a colony, and every time someone places a colony, you get 1 production. Which is, you have very little control over that, because after you get your free colony, you're probably not going to place a colony for a while, and throughout the game you'll maybe place 2 or 3 yourself, so you're really just waiting for someone else to activate your effect, and they're not going to do it that often, and it's not going to matter as much, as opposed to something like Tharsis, which there's more interaction when you play with cities, and you get a double effect when you place the city. So yeah, I don't know, I just feel like you just don't place that many colonies in the early game, and because you start with 1, you actually just wait a lot for it, and it doesn't really stop players from placing colonies, give you 1 production. Most players are gonna place 1 colony in the first 4 rounds, and you'll get 4 money production, but that's not a big deal, and it just plays normally after that. So yeah, I did like I did like it the first times I played it, but after that I just realized it doesn't do much. But yeah, let's talk about number 4 most boring corporation, and that's gonna be Ecoline. And yeah, Ecoline is just boring because you can do one thing and one thing only. It is kind of fun to try to avoid asteroids at the beginning of the game, you know, placing oceans and trying to get to 7 planets. But after, I don't know, after you play Ecoline a few times, you're just tired of it. You always have to go for plants. And if they manage to if you're in a game with 3 or 4 players and they start nuking you, it's really horrible. Those are the worst games that I've played in Terraforming Mars. Just people nuking my plants, even though I'm clearly last at that point, and you just can't do anything because you don't have money and you're not getting enough plants for the greenery. So yeah, Ecoline, pretty boring. It is fun if you can rush the game, but that's, you know, not always up to you. Sometimes it doesn't work. So yeah, okay, number 3, let's start hating on heat, because heat sucks, and Helion. So yeah, I did the 3 corporations in the base game that use one of the, you know, resources, energy, plants, and heat, and yeah, they kind of channel it into a strategy. Like I said, Thorgate I don't consider as boring because energy is versatile, and Helion actually lets you use heat as money, which should make it versatile, but then you realize that that's actually usually a bad deal. Heat is worth more than money. And with Helion, you're really just forced to rush the game, and you're forced to rush it with heat, and then find a way to get the oxygen, or hope another player does. And heat is so much more boring. Like, heat is the most boring strategy in the game. There's nothing to it, really. You just, you know, wait to get to 8 and bump it. And so I often play Helion wrong and just use it as money. And then I lose, but it's a little more fun, but then it's not so much fun when you're really behind later. So yeah, heat is boring, like I've said many times, and Helion sucks. Which brings me to number 2, and I really hate this corporation. This is a corporation that I truly hate, Stormcraft. And this is just wasted potential. See, like, it came in colonies, and colonies had this Jovian floater theme, which was really fun. Is really fun. And then, you know, Stormcraft is sort of a Jovian floater theme, but also heat. And so, okay, let's look at the action. I mean, first of all, it has a Jovian attack. That's already fun. Like, that should be fun. And then it places a floater on any card. That is also fun. But with these corporations, one of the problems is that at the beginning of the game, you may not have a target for it. And so what does this do when it places on itself? It turns it into 2 heat, which is not only like crazy low and boring, it's also like, how is this related to Jovians and floaters? So it's bad, boring, and unrelated. It's just horrible. And okay, yeah, there are things like, if you think of Celestic draws you 2 floater cards, which, you know, guarantees you some synergy. So you probably saw at least 1 floater card in your hand, and you go, oh, okay, I can do Celestic, and then you get 2 more, and then you'll get some synergy, and it'll be lots of fun. With this one, you may see 1 floater card or 1 Jovian card, which may not be a floater card, and then maybe you're stuck doing heal game, which is just disgusting. I've never played this corporation and never intend to. Like, the one saving grace might be like Titan Floating Launchpad, which would let you trade for free early in the game. But other than that, like, what else? The other Jovians that take floaters, you don't want to go into points with something like Jovian Lanterns that early. And like, the other one that could work is Red Sport Observatory, which, you know, you can draw cards with like 1 card per turn with your corporation and that card. That requires 3 science stacks, and it costs 17 because it is a Jovian science card, so you're not going to play that early. So if you don't get Titan Floating Launchpad, or if you're playing with the Venus expansion, something like Dirigibles, which is actually really good, you're probably stuck sticking floaters into these piece of shit for like the first 3 or 4 generations, and that's gonna, work itself into one heat step, which is just garbage. And it just so bothers me that this is there's only 2 Jovian corporations and 2 Flora corporations, which are like 2 of my favorite things, and like one is completely unusable because it's this shit. So yeah, I hate Stormcraft, but not as much as I hate Aphrodite. So I remember being really excited when I heard there was an expansion with corporations. It's like one thing I wanted from any expansion when Venus was announced, because Hellas and Elysium didn't bring, which I thought was really shitty because it opportunity missed. And then I started reading these corporations. Viron, I'm immediately excited about it because I love like things that tap. Tapping something twice. Viron's still probably my favorite corporation to this day. And then Manutech looks incredibly interesting. And then you have the other 2 Venus Corps, like Celestic and MSI, which you think, okay, like there's a lot of synergy there. That's gonna be exciting. But then as soon as I looked at Aphrodite, I went, why? Like what what's the thought process here? Like Venus probably has nothing to do with plants. At that point, I already knew that one plant production was generally useless. Like you need 2 really, and then some to like make it be worth in the early game. And then the effect is so underwhelming. Like anyone terraforms Venus, you get 2 mega crates, and guess what? Terraforming Venus is not that great. Like if you have an engine to do so with floaters, I guess it's worth it. But otherwise, like your standard product is horribly valued, and the asteroids are pretty expensive. Like there's usually better ways to get points late game than asteroids that terraform Venus. So yeah, like you're not gonna terraform Venus that much. You're not gonna use the effect that much. Like the main reason is to like get through the requirements, which stop at 18%, or maybe even the things on the track, like the terraforming rating on the Venus strike is definitely worth the standard product, because then you're getting 2 for 15, which I mean, it's not that it's amazing, it's only slightly better than release of inert gases. But yeah, you're just not gonna terraform that much after you've played the cards with requirements that you wanted to play, and the plants have nothing to do with it. So this is just like this seems like put together randomly. Really, that's the only thought. And the tags, like Planet Venus, good tags, but are you really gonna play a strategy that uses both? And then what bothers me even more is that they made a card that, like the fucking shittiest card ever, Venus Soils. Apparently, I guess it's good for Aphrodite. It's like Aphrodite the card. So I don't know, to try and fit this strategy, and then they make a couple more Venus cards with like a plant Venus combination of things. Freya Biodomes is one. Yeah, where it's kind of like a city effect where you lose energy, and get money production and get points. Money production and points generally are things that one you want early, the other one you want late. But this one also gives you 2 animals. So this one's, if you have a 1-point animal, you get 4 points, and that's great. But it has nothing to do with plants. Again, it has a plant tag, it has nothing to do with plants. And then the other one is Venusian plants, which, gives you a Venus step and a microbe or an animal, and it has nothing to do with plants. So that Venus plant theme is inexistent, aside from Venus Soils, which is a shit card. Think about it. If you play Venus Hall should be the card for this corporation. If you play it, you're down 23, and you have 2 plant production, and you get a rebate of 2, I guess, for the Venus step. I mean, the only thing good is that you have 2 plant tags at that point. It's just horrible. It's the worst corporation in the game. As soon as I saw it in the spoilers, I knew I was never gonna play it. So much so that me and the friend I usually play with, just throw it away whenever we were like dealing corporations, and we did the same with Stormcraft for the most part, I think. But yeah, sorry I finished on such a negative note, but you should have expected that from the name of the video. But yeah, that's to me the top 10 most boring corporations in Terraforming Mars. Side note, I think you can still have fun with like the first 8. The other 2 I just never played, but it's a great game, so it's just lots of fun. Alright, hope you liked the video, and see you next time.